As an aside, I found it especially ironic and troublesome that on the very day that almost 100 newly elected members of the 112th Congress were arriving in Washington for their freshman orientation, in another room just a few steps away was a man who once wielded one of the most powerful gavels in town, and at one time was one of our most highly regarded colleagues, and yet who was showing so little regard and respect, either for the institution that he has claimed to love or for the people of his district in New York that he has claimed to proudly represent for more than 40 years. Now, I don't pretend to speak for Mr. Rangel's constituents. They have re-elected him, often without opposition, more times than many of the members of Congress have actually been alive. But while Mr. Rangel has tried repeatedly this week to claim the unfairness of what has happened to him, in my mind, the most unfair thing of all was that his constituents were denied an opportunity to know the findings of fact as determined by 8 of his colleagues, 4 Republicans and 4 Democrats, before they, the voters in the 15th District of New York, had an opportunity to choose their representative earlier this year. This process could have and should have been concluded earlier, and as such, it is my view that the committee failed the people of Harlem and the 15th District of New York for this reason alone. Before he marched out of the hearing on Monday, but even after the subcommittee's conviction by clear and convincing evidence on Tuesday, Mr. Rangel stated that this panel should now take into account his entire 40 years of service to the Congress, as well as his military record. Let me be clear. His distinguished military service is not up for debate, nor is it a relevant part, in my view, of this deliberation. For when the American people bestow upon us the privilege of being their representative, it is both a matter of tradition and protocol that the position also carries with it the title of honorable. Sadly, Madam Chair, it is my unwavering view that the actions, decision, and behavior of our colleague from New York can no longer reflect either honor or integrity. As I noted earlier, I can't speak for the people in Mr. Rangel's district, but I do know this. For the tenants who qualified for a rent-stabilized apartment in New York or any American city, but couldn't get one because a powerful man had 4, there's something wrong with that. For the small businesswoman who didn't pay her taxes for 17 years and had the IRS breathing down her back, I can only imagine how she would have liked to have had the chance to help write the tax code of this country and make it less burdensome and simpler for everyone else. And for the still relatively new member of Congress from California, who just a couple years ago questioned whether or not it was appropriate to be building a monument to me, I will never forget the arrogance of the response. I was on the floor that day. I would have a problem if you did it, Mr. Rangel said to Mr. Campbell on the House floor on July 19, 2007, because I don't think you've been around long enough to have your name on something to inspire a building like this. Madam Chair, it is painful for me to say this to a man I personally respect. But Mr. Rangel can no longer blame anyone other than himself for the position he now finds himself in. Not this committee, not his staff or family, not the accountants or lawyers, not the press. Mr. Rangel should only look into the mirror if he wants to know who to blame. While I'm not an attorney, as most of the members of this committee are, as well as the respondent himself, I know, and I believe we all know, that it should not take either a law degree or a legal dictionary to tell us the difference between right and wrong. It is now up to each one of us to determine the appropriate measure of punishment for the discredit Mr. Rangel has brought to this House. And I thank the chairwoman for this opportunity to offer a few heartfelt observations